appears that our good intentions of the colored leaflets and sections, I was just saying to
It's
Tilly, we might have to do 3-ring binders where you have the tabs.
We're gonna end up tabbing with that. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the planning board meeting of February 13, 2013.
Post-it note tabs.
Tonight we have Tilly Evangelista, myself, I'm Harry Locatilia, Christopher Rich, Bob Watts. Howard Snyder is our town planner, and Wendy Beaumont's taking minutes. It is now 7:12, and let the planning board meeting begin. 7:12 p.m. Anybody have any motions or anything like that? How about a motion to accept the minutes?
Second.
Any minutes, or does anybody care what minutes?
January 23rd, 2013.
Oh, those, okay, we'll be really specific. January 23rd, 2013. And seconded by Tilly, motion by Chris. Great. Want to have a discussion? Is there anything anybody would like to change from the,
All comments received up till noon today have been incorporated. And there weren't any since these were sent out, so.
I only had a couple, right? Silly little things.
Right.
2 or 3, yeah.
What?
Silly little changes,
Yeah.
minor
Yeah, they were good.
stuff. They were good minutes. Wow, I like how you have that all arrayed there, Chris.
That word arrayed.
Oh, boy, huh?
Wow, that's organized. I just have it piled on here. Any changes you'd like to make, Tilly?
No, they,
Bob, you were there,
No, I'm
any
good.
changes for the minute?
No,
Chris,
I
you
thought
good with them?
I thought they were very good too.
your changes, I noticed, are they in here?
No, they could not be.
Oh,
That would be impossible.
so, okay, so we should have voted for amendments?
Chris, was your motion to accept the minutes of January 23rd, 2013 with changes?
Yes, subject to any changes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was an aye. Tilly?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Great.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Rich, let me guess, you want to do some correspondence?
Just cut right to the chase
The vouchers?
on the vouchers, get those out of the way.
Okay, Chris moves the vouchers. And those vouchers,
Total $218.22.
$218.22. Is there a second for that?
Aye.
Okay.
Bob seconds. Discussion. These are all WB Masons, weren't they?
Oh, ink.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of ink.
Probably be cheaper to buy us a laptop each. Sit here with it.
Yeah, no
Well,
kidding.
the ink
Or a
was,
thumb drive for each one of us. You know,
they were
don't
having
wanna
a
give
deal,
thumb
so
drive.
we bought backup ink for the color printer in the planning office. And then we bought, new cartridges for the oversized plotter that the land use departments use. Those are actually starting to go bad because they're original, they're hardly ever used, so.
Dry up right in the cartridge, right?
That's too bad.
Leave the old ones in. So you have the new ones when you're ready to print, right?
Yeah.
Do they
Rip them
give you-
open and
they
stick
give
them
you
in.
money back when you give them back to be recycled?
We looked around, there wasn't, but they offer a mail-in for free recycling, so. But there isn't any.
Sporting of them.
Yeah,
Because I know Staples gives you $5.
yeah. They,
Well, anybody see any problems with the bills? Total 218.22. All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Do we have something to sign there?
While that's being passed around, I can quickly go over the town of Rowley. Sent us
What is that?
a
special?
notice of a public hearing. They are considering revising some of their district maps, but I brought attention in your planning packet. Item number 6, adding a definition for solar photovoltaic installation. And so I'm going to be following what Rowley does. with their upcoming town meeting, and I also included their revised solar bylaws as another local example of
Oh, those were
what we
theirs.
might be able to do.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Great.
How is
Would you like that back, Helen?
How is that falling into place where in the 40A that's exempt? I mean, how is the bylaws working? Is it gonna be a code bylaw? A code bylaw, not zoning? Did you notice that in the 40A?
No, I didn't notice anything in 48 about it. I was thinking it's gonna be
I think it's exempt,
That's Raleigh.
you know. Let's see what it is.
Is that residential and commercial?
as I remember, what they did was that they allow it by special permit in commercial or industrial areas. It's not allowed in residential.
It's large scale,
It's
isn't
not
it?
allowed?
I think this is large scale solar.
Large scale. They're not approaching units that you put on single family or residential roofs. They're considering the larger power generating type of
Do they
plant.
define it?
I believe so.
I haven't looked at it. 150 kilowatt or larger.
250 is a special permit, right? Comes with site plan review.
50 kilowatts, just take them on the house.
It's amps. You're measuring in amps.
200 amp service.
I think what you're looking at is about 10.
Well, those
10 will run anything.
kilowatt
10,
hours.
12 kilowatts. You'll
Oh, really?
Run your house.
Oh, okay. So this is a
That'll,
farm.
that'll run everything.
They're talking about a farm.
Or neighborhood.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah. that's
Power
that's
generation
that's
plant
a good size
facility.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you wouldn't need 250 kV.
Well, you never know, I might want to go into the electric business.
In that case, you would be. They'd have to buy it back. I don't think you have a choice. They have to buy it back.
Well, it's absolutely something we should look at
Well, Howard's
at another time.
Howard's looking into that. And what do we have for public hearings? We actually don't have the East Main Street athletic facilities
What do you need?
tonight. We're only
He's gonna be here at about 8:30.
dealing with, yeah, but we don't have, this is not a continuation for anybody that, we did not continue to tonight. We continued to March.
Why is he coming to
March
tonight?
13th.
I requested him to fill out a Form H because the review period is ending, so he needed to
Just
fill
looking
out-
for an extension of time.
Right.
Okay. That's the only reason. He's just gonna bring the form, that's it, right?
We have the form here if we want to entertain it, but he'll be here later.
Okay. And what about 6 Norino Way? Tonight is the hearing extension, the continuation for the hearing is tonight, right?
Right, the applicant
Okay,
for
so-
6 Narina Way sent me a letter.
Well, wait a minute, why don't we do it the right way? 6 Norino Way, we're opening the continuation of the site plan approval
Here it is here.
of 6 Norino Way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what do you have for us, Howard?
I received a letter from Millennium Engineering dated February 11th. Request for continuance on behalf of Mira Company Incorporated. We request a continuance for our planning board hearing Wednesday, February 13th, to the next available hearing date. We are in receipt of design review comments prepared by Graham Associates and have scheduled a meeting with Mr. Graham to discuss our intended technical revisions.
So Larry has sent the comments, and I believe they're included in the packet, if you felt like pouring through them. Bottom line is, there are a couple issues about estimated groundwater. There were a couple other things as far as specifics of the underground storage facility, as far as elevation and actual, if it has ends, three pipes, 2 pipes, basically dimensional figure in sizing and specifications for that. And there were a couple other comments, but I'm sure they're gonna deal with it, and they'll go talk to Larry, and Larry will get back to us. They'll come
He's
back.
thorough. He's thorough.
Yeah, he's the water guy. Yeah, that's what happens when you do the stormwater review, but anyway.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Rich,
I would move that we grant the request for continuance.
well, all you have to do is continue, make a motion to continue. So I'm making a motion to continue to, what is our next
The
hearing date?
13th.
13th? What do we have on that night? That's the night we have Park and Rec, right?
Park and
East
Rec
Main Street
has,
Park and Rec comes
has
back on the
requested, they come back, but they've requested their extension of time up to April 10th. But they're due back on March 13th.
Up to April 10th.
We continued the hearing until, at the last meeting, we continued
To March
East Main
13th.
Street to March 13th.
Right,
They're coming in that night,
right.
right?
To request.
An
No,
extension.
to present whatever changes
okay.
get made.
Okay.
Yeah. So do we wanna have them both, or do we wanna wait until the next night? Do you think that Larry will have this all resolved and we'll have new plans drawn and?
Well, you,
Things will be
you
all
said
set
you
for
didn't want to
Reno?
have two public hearings on one
I'd
night.
prefer not to, but I
And
mean.
both of them are gonna be thick, so.
That's why it's a good idea to make, 3 extra months for these extensions. Then they could call up and say, we're ready, and then we could, Howard could schedule it for the next meeting.
What I thought we
know,
used to
something
do
like
was,
that.
always to extend to the end of the quarter. So January, February, March 30th would be the extension date. April, May, June 30th would be the extension date.
That's what I would give them.
Yeah,
I would give them the
that's what we
June.
always did. We always did
Yeah.
the extensions that way, but this
Yeah.
has nothing to do with an extension. They're not ready to, their extension's plenty of time left for, Narito Way.
Yeah, but to save the communicator, them coming in and just signing a paper to extend it, it's kind of,
Yeah, it's.
futile.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but, your call, folks. Actually, Chris, you started the motion, Chris. We have, March 13th or March 24th for the extension.
Well, the March 24th is incorrect. It's 2
Oh.
weeks after the 13th, so it'd be the 27th.
Oh, 27th. So it's March 13th or March 27th? Which did you want, Chris?
Let's give the Reno Way a little more time to get their act together.
they certainly aren't in a hurry, and they have to wait till the spring, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be doing
Do
too much
anything?
digging.
Yeah, but it's always good for construction planning to know. But I don't think they'll be offended.
Motion by Chris to, excuse me, continue the hearing until March 27th, 2013. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bob. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, hearing is hereby continued till March 27th, 2013 at 7 PM. Everybody good with that? East Main Street, what do we have for East Main Street? Since it's not a public hearing, this is not a continuation of that public hearing. This is board business. This should not be under public hearing. This should be under board business in the future.
The applicant has sent in a request for extension of time, a Form H.
So the East Main Street recreational facility
To when?
April 10th.
is requesting an extension, I think that's in your supplemental. isn't it?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
An extension of time. Yep. Yes, Chris. You have a motion you want to make about a Form H?
Yes, I would move that we accept the applicant's request for an extension of time to April 10th, 2013. No later than April 10th, 2013.
Is there a second for a
second.
request to extend the time for East Main Street recreational facility to April, what did you say? April
10th.
10th? April.
April 10th, yes. Now, the only question I have
Seconded
is,
by Bob, Bob Watts.
is this an original signature?
No, that's a printout of what he scanned and sent.
he bringing the original?
He should be, yes.
Okay. Subject, of course, to receiving the original.
Good enough. As soon as we get it, it'll be done, right?
Yep.
All in favor of extending the time to, the time for decision until April 10th, 2013, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chris, are you voting on
I'm
that?
sorry, aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Great. And that's, Howard, did you want that? Because it looks like it's ready to sign. So that's done. When that comes in, is that us? Do we sign the Form H, or can you sign it on our behalf? In case we're not here when he gets here.
Clerk of the planning board.
Oh, okay. That's a clerk.
So unless you put in that motion
I'm sure we'll be here.
to accept the signature instead of the clerk.
Tilly, wait for him.
Okay,
She was kind enough to forego her ashes. I offered to take some for my cigar.
Yeah, where are they? Did you bring any?
I didn't know you could do that.
To a Jesuit school, there's a lot of things you can.
I don't even wanna go there. We're not going there. Planning office, or your call, all business guys, or you wanna go with the planning office, with the M
You know
accounts and
what's not
etc.?
on here? I just thought of it when we were talking about the solar. Was that workshop we were all gonna go to?
That's under the Citizens Collaborative, that's the first under the planning
Oh,
office.
that's it?
Mhm.
Oh,
So, Citizens Collaborative? And, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Citizens Planner Training Collaborative, Howard? Why don't you start with, just generally what it is and the date
I
and all those
included,
good things?
I included in your packet, the Citizen Planner Training Collaborative is putting on their
That's after
12th
planning
annual
office.
conference in
I'm sorry, Howard.
Worcester.
What was that date again?
March 16th, it's a Saturday.
March 16th, 2013, a Saturday. Okay.
Three sessions, each session an hour and a half. And the board had a chance to review the sessions that are gonna be there. I wanted to get an understanding of, I plan on attending, and for the purposes of registration, to understand who would be going, signing those things up, and then having the ability to have the planning office cut the check at the next meeting. $50 per registrant, so.
Can the planning office do the registration for everybody that wants to go?
I think
I think
so.
that's the idea.
So,
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just sign us all up.
right.
Well, why don't we, why
But
don't
I
we
need
look
to
at
know
this one?
which sessions you're interested in.
First off, who wants to go? Tilly, you
Yeah,
going?
I would, yeah, as long
Okay.
as I'm not driving.
Okay. You're not driving? It sounds like we can truck down together in some fashion.
Okay.
Okay. Howard, are you
Thanks.
going?
I
Yes,
appreciate
you're going.
that.
Wendy? You won't be attending? I intend to go. Chris, do you want to attend?
Absolutely.
And Bob?
It's a Saturday.
And it's March 16th, 2013. This is out in Worcester,
Yes.
Holy Cross.
Holy Cross.
Holy
Holy
Cross.
Cross,
So
yeah.
that's, what's that, about an hour 40? Hour 40, 2 hour ride?
For me, it's about an hour and 40.
Yeah.
'Cause I come down
To
495.
Worcester, yeah, an hour and a quarter.
You could take a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, we probably should take a
If you
car.
can't make Worcester for $4.95 in an hour, probably an hour and 15 minutes.
Hour 15, yeah.
To Holy Cross.
Yeah, depends. Depends if you have blue lights or not.
Well, I was gonna say, how many Dunkin' Donuts are there between here and there that you?
That's a lot, 2.5
You'd
hours.
have to pull up to.
That's a lot, 2.5 hours.
Bob,
Starts
are
at
you in?
8:30? Did I read
think
8:30
so. It
somewhere?
looks like there are a couple of kind of planning 101
Yeah.
over on the right-hand side, roles and
Maybe they
responsibilities.
can, if they want to decide and then email me, or you.
And there's always planning and zoning.
Right, I just needed a roll call of who would want to attend. If you can let me know tomorrow on which
Harry
ones,
Tilly and I.
Which sessions you want
sessions I
say.
can sign you up for.
Oh, do we specifically have to go to the sessions and let them know in advance which sessions will
Right.
be attended?
Normally,
Right.
yeah.
It is $50 a person, but I think they want to know who's going to be attending. which
Yeah, how
section,
much
so.
paperwork they're gonna pass out to you.
Can I ask, is there anything in the afternoon session that anybody wants to,
I wanted the
It's
solar
the
one,
way
and what
this,
time
I
is that one?
assume that each
Unfortunately,
one of
everything's in the
these,
morning. all the goodies?
rows is a session.
Right.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
And the next page, they say they run from 9 to 10:30.
Oh, I can't see the times.
Yeah,
I see it.
it's
Okay.
very difficult to see the,
Yeah, this is not
Well,
easy
it's
to
in
read.
color in the PDF
Yeah.
that I emailed out. so-
Can you, would you do me a favor, can the top line, can you just tell me what those times are?
9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
10:30.
10:30 a.m.
10:30, yeah.
And then 11 to 12:30 PM.
Yep.
And then 1:30 to 3.
Yep.
I plan on attending the afternoon session on subdivision control law.
Will we be
Oh, okay.
fed?
A&R.
Will we be fed?
Yes.
Very good.
Howard's gonna make sandwiches.
I make good sandwiches for the car.
Ooh, all right.
Okay. I think the one that I'd like to go to is in the very morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
that
too,
early
in the
session.
morning.
Which one?
You
Zoning
can sign me up for the
medical
medical marijuana.
You can go to one in each time. slot,
Yes.
so-
And
Yes.
if you're gonna go to that, why don't I do the special permits and variances?
There you go. And Howard, are you going to the zoning for solar, an update on solar?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tilly, you wanna go to water?
No, the solar
Doing
one.
solar too?
Yeah.
Good, excellent.
So Tilly and Howard?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do these more introductory things.
Which ones are those?
It looks like the roles and
Ah,
responsibilities.
roles and responsibilities for Bob, right?
Mm-hmm.
We good? And
Are you gonna
I would
attend both
presume
roles
that's
and
both the-
responsibilities,
The morning
Bob?
I-
and the
It
af-
looks like
and
the two sections,
Yep.
and,
Oh, they even have CPA session there. Do you see
Well,
that?
again, look over, there's better descriptions inside. Why don't you just, instead of during the meeting, you can send me an email tomorrow and I'll get
Yeah.
you signed up.
Mhm.
Everyone's
See,
signed up.
yeah, that's the, well, you know what's good, if you split it,
Mhm.
you can pick up all the literature.
Absolutely. That's what I'm thinking.
They usually have
If all of us
tables
go
on
to
it.
different things, we can.
There's the affordable housing goals, that's pretty good.
Which one is that? Where is that? Where
You
you
see,
seen that?
right up in the corner? Did you open it up to your
Oh,
trust
that's
committee?
the morning? The
Yeah,
morning
I've looked
session?
at it.
I mean, your group,
Yes.
That's the morning session.
nobody in their group is gonna go?
I'm waiting to hear back.
Yeah, that's the morning session though.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're gonna be at the other sessions. Yeah. The,
I wonder if the water board had got a notice of it. There's a lot of stuff on water.
oh, we'll see. Is there anything else that you need, Howard?
I really just
Sign
needed
us
a
up?
head count. Yep.
Head count, and you have a good idea which sessions we'll be attending as far as the morning is
Just,
concerned?
again, read through it and confirm with me tomorrow which ones you want to attend.
That's the only one I care about. I already told you.
Which one was that? Which number?
That was,
You got mine, right?
You're doing the zoning.
yeah, it's number
And
two.
solar.
Yeah, number 3.
Number 2 for me,
That's it.
Yeah.
number 3 for Tilly, number 6,
For Bob.
and number 12 for Bob,
Yeah.
number 5 for Chris. Right?
Okay.
And number 11. for
And
Chris.
11 for Chris as well.
And we might as well make it, give me 5, 11, and 17.
Lump sum, or do you want a 20-year payoff?
I don't know, I'll be home by then.
Picking your numbers.
Yeah, lump sum.
5, 11, and 17.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
Those
spend
are
the
all
whole
prime
day?
numbers. Is that
Yeah.
significant?
I'm gonna go,
spend the
if I'm
whole
going
day?
to Worcester,
Wow.
might as well spend the whole day.
Wow.
Is our driver gonna spend the whole day? We gotta,
We'll figure it out. All I know is
if
he's
we're
picking
gonna,
all
if I'm
prime
gonna be
numbers.
there the whole day, I may as well take an afternoon one too. But I wanna be sure.
Bob's going
Well,
with
I plan
Fibonacci
on-
sequence over there. But
I plan
anyway,
on being there all day, and I'll drive.
You'll drive?
You're not gonna get us all in the code, right?
I have a pickup truck.
That's what I was afraid you were gonna say.
Well, I thought we'd all go together,
That makes sense.
No?
Howard, you can register us tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Wendy?
Yeah, we just need to, Tilly needs to pick an afternoon session. You can either pick it today or let me know tomorrow. Tilly,
Let's see
whatever.
Which one are you taking, Chris?
Intro to subdivision control law.
Oh,
Keep going.
this one?
Yeah, looks like it's. That's the one he's taking. Maybe I'll join you on that one.
Yeah. This one?
That's the one he's going
That's
with.
really the only one in the afternoon that's decent.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said I'll be home.
Although, it wouldn't hurt to go to writing reasonable and defensible decisions. Do you wanna go to that subdivision?
I haven't been to a subdivision one, but I have been to that one, writing good decisions. I've been to most of these, except the water issues are new, and none of them are in the afternoon.
Oh, in the morning, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Morning's a busy time.
I mean, I'd sure be interested in adapting to climate change. I think that's
That
That's gonna
looks
have some interesting
relatively
stuff.
interesting. That's one of the afternoon ones.
Mhm.
That's probably where I'll be waiting
I'll
for you
try
guys.
this one, the hazard
In
mitigation.
the afternoon, you don't have to worry too much
13.
about signing up.
13?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're doing
I'll
3
try
and 13?
13
Little bit.
instead of the subdivision law.
So you're doing 3 and 13?
Right.
And Bob's doing 6 and 12, and Chris is doing 5, 11, 17, and Harry's doing 2.
Climate change.
yeah, I'll figure it out when I get there.
To draft a chapter.
Actually, yeah, I mean, basically, when you sign up, 9 times out of 10, you're able to go into a different one if you change your mind when you get there, but,
You just put on dark glasses and
This is
a ball
new.
cap.
yeah.
A chapter on climate change adaptation for their new master plan?
That's interesting. I'll probably end up there.
The town of Marshfield.
I just want to make sure I do have a seat for that first one, though.
Yeah.
That's the only concern I have at this point.
Right.
Great. Anything else on that, folks, or put my little check mark there? That's all ticked off the open space and recreation plan. Here we go. Want to give a little background on that to the board? Howard, if you would, please.
The Georgetown's open space and recreation plan was last done in 2005, right?
No.
Was that the last one that was approved, 2005?
The main thing
Yes.
is that right now it is currently expired, and
Right.
the open space and recreation plan was actually filed for in 2007.
2 years ago.
That was when we got final approval. Yes, you're absolutely right. It was conditionally approved in 2008, but because ADA sections and some other problems that weren't, there were sections that weren't up to snuff as far as Executive Office of Environmental Affairs was concerned. We got the conditional approval in 2008, but we didn't get final and full approval in 2011. Chris is mentioning it, and he remembers it because he was ADA coordinator. The whole ADA section has to be signed off and essentially done by the ADA
I still
coordinator.
am, so I'll make the time to
Right.
get that done with.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Well, okay.
Well,
Completely.
I included in the packet,
At any rate, it's expired right now.
it's expired, so
Yeah.
it needs to be done. And you received a list of the maps that are gonna be addressed. And we're starting to get quotes back on a consultant. So we're gonna start engaging the planning office and Concom, we're gonna start engaging the consultant and start the process.
For the purpose of putting the plan together.
Right.
Did we do that before?
No, before it was done under the auspices of the Open Space Committee on a completely volunteer basis. I can tell you this much, I at that time was the chair of the Open Space Committee. I can tell you that it was extremely unfortunate, the timing. As I said, we submitted the plan in 2007. One of the things that happened was in 2007, 2008, EOEEA, the government approving agency, changed the rules. They moved the target. Unfortunately, we were a victim of that because we were going off of the older standards. When we submitted, they were updating and looking for a higher bar. And unfortunately, it took us 3 more years to achieve that bar on a volunteer basis.
Where do we
It
get
is
the
what
money
it
for this
is.
consultant?
This was already voted by town meeting for, it last May.
Okay, so the money's available.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, it's been appropriated, yeah, it's ready.
Is
for-
Merrimack
ready
Valley
for
one of the
release.
consultants for mapping?
Right, Merrimack Valley Planning Commission will be taking care of the mapping.
They're gonna do the mapping.
So I'm gonna be looking for 2 motions at this point. First motion, motion to authorize town planner to enter into a contract for the town with a consultant for the open space and recreation plan. And who'd like to make that motion?
Before we even make that motion, why do we wanna put it in his lap? Shouldn't this board be reviewing the contract and voting on it when the contract comes in? I mean,
We
are
could do that,
are
but do we wanna wait that long?
Are we soliciting?
Actually, it's the conservation board that forms this committee.
How much is this? Well, how much is this contract total?
7,000.
$7,000,
Okay, so it's under the.
$10,000. We've received other bids,
Yeah.
orally or written.
But it's under the, I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure it was
you're
under
under
the
the-
open bidding law.
Right,
You're under there.
Because if it was over the open bidding law, then you'd need board.
approval
Approval.
and review.
Someone wanna make a motion to let Howard sign it? Nobody wants to?
So moved.
I have to tell you, I have a fundamental problem with just,
Trusting Howard
no, letting a department head sign a contract to buy money.
for consulting services?
Yeah. Yep,
Um,
I don't think he should have to stick his neck out that far. Because if the person, they turn out to be,
Would you like me to sign it?
oh, I think we should see it.
Okay, I have.
You ever seen the contract?
Mhm.
How come the rest of us haven't seen the contract?
Because CPC money is where it came from. And so that,
Okay, that answers
that
the
needs a
question.
release.
You don't have a problem with it?
I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem signing it myself. I just would like the planning office to be point.
If you have seen the contract and you don't have a problem with it,
I actually changed it.
I trust your
I understand.
opinion. I just don't wanna put him in that position.
I get you. I
That
hear you.
someone says, why didn't you do this?
The planning office will be signing it as well as the Concom agent or officer.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better.
That was one of the changes I made, that it would be a dual signature.
And all of the contract, all of these things are in this contract.
No, what you're looking at is a list that where I do it. Oh, absolutely, the update. It's-
The,
No,
the
no,
maps
each
and
one
the
of these are
contacts
the
in the
maps.
back are all part of the contract.
These are the maps. I made this up because this came from the Open Space Planners Guide of 2008, which was the 2008 version. Got implemented right after we did our plan. This is all the new ones. These are each one of the maps that are required update maps.
Okay.
I hope it doesn't seem like I'm shoving this through in any
No,
way.
but I just want you to know what my concern is. I
Absolutely.
don't want it to come back saying you delegated a responsibility that you should not have delegated. Meaning, we should review the contract. I don't think it's right to put him in that position.
You could say the same thing about Harry. He's on the CPC, he got the money, and now he's the chairman of the open space.
No, Dick Talbot is chair of Open Space this year.
So
The open
you
space.
should,
No, what-
I don't think you should be signing the contract. I think
Well,
it's the
I'm not-
chairman maybe.
It's not a matter of signing it. We should, one of us should at least have reviewed the terms.
Yeah,
to make sure it's what we expect it to be. And that should not be the planner's responsibility. That's why there's a board.
right,
But I trust Harry's decision
yeah.
most of the time.
You're just
Like
saying that
I-
because
like
it's
I'm telling you,
Valentine's
it's
Day, aren't
probably
you?
more,
And I don't have a problem.
Well,
just
the,
'cause
the
it's
open space
Valentine's.
committee is inactive at the time. They need to get reactive.
Yeah,
They need
that
to get
needs
the
to be
members back
reactivated.
together.
Yeah.
but
So-
you're, how did you get involved with this?
I dragged him in.
Well, there's the coordinating of the mapping, and the planner ought to
Yeah.
be involved in it.
Keep
It
in
never
mind,
was before.
keep in mind one thing. One of the, and
And
The
I'm
whole-
not too sure, Howard, the town planner has the authority to bind the town.
Right.
no, the board does. That's why
It's
we're.
a good point, but
That's
I
why we're
never
voting it.
thought of it that way. But all I'm thinking about is that,
But now we're specific. You've seen the document, so I'm going to make the motion that he be allowed to sign for the board on the
Authorizing
document
for the
that
board.
you reviewed.
And he reviewed.
Right.
Yeah.
And he
I
reviewed.
understand what you're saying. Okay, so did I get that right? When do you want to read that motion back, just so I get it right?
No.
Please.
Motion to allow
The town planner.
the town planner to sign the document that you reviewed
For the board,
for the board.
yes.
For the open space and recreation plan.
so because you're
Consultation.
our representative on this committee, is that why you're pulling in
Yeah,
Howard?
absolutely. I, just
But,
generally speaking,
yeah,
everything I do on CPC, I don't CC you guys, but I CC Howard and Wendy,
But
because
Nick-
I'm your representative
but
on the board.
Tilly, if I can say, Nick was very much involved in the
No.
last
really?
open space. Oh, yeah.
He did
He
a,
did
yeah.
the majority of what I,
yeah.
he did the paperwork that Krasinski brought when we went out.
Mm.
The three of us went out and did everything that I had to sign off on.
Yeah,
So, I mean, do I think the planner should be involved? Absolutely.
Can
yeah.
I just say one thing, and I think Howard, you can give me the right numbers on this. The master plan for the town, which needs to be updated and is updated pretty much exclusively by the planning board,
Right.
has 8 elements or 11 elements to it,
I
something
believe
like
it's
that.
8, yeah.
8
It's
elements
just
to
the
it.
doorstop.
Yeah, that's the tour stop. Out of those 8 elements, this creates 5, I believe.
A majority.
This
yeah.
is 5 of them. So once this open space and recreation plan is done, you've done 5 of the elements necessary for the master plan. Now do you see why
There's overlap.
we're,
Oh, I have
Yeah.
no problem with the, no
Yep.
problem whatsoever with the
Okay.
planning board being involved.
okay, yeah.
I think should be.
Yeah, I think it
I
should be.
just don't, I wanna make sure we do it right.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I trust your decision-making process when it comes to hiring outside vendors. I don't think the board, if it hits the fan, it needs to hit the fan this way, not that way.
I agree. And I think your motion pretty much
Yep.
covers Howard. So there was a motion, and actually, Chris, you made that motion?
I did.
Chris made the motion. And is there a second?
In a second.
Shelley seconds. And that's the motion that authorizes Howard to sign the contract with the consultant. All in favor? On behalf of the board, on behalf of the planning board.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely, sure, go for it.
Before we vote?
Keep in mind that this piece of paper that I provided here, this is a list out of the
Yeah, same.
maps.
Right.
Remember, all of this started with Merrimack Valley Planning Commission being the one that gave us the quotation for the amount of money to do this plan.
And then who submitted it? That's what I'm saying. I don't remember ever voting for that money to be asked of CPC.
Oh, that was
That was at town
submitted a
meeting,
while
right?
ago. Yeah, that was over a year ago.
But I don't remember bringing it forward to the CPC committee.
Oh, no, we
I don't
didn't do
remember
it.
you
We didn't do
mentioning
it.
it
Concom
before.
did it. Concom did it.
That's what I mean.
Concom brought it
Concom did
forward.
the money.
Well, they
So-
made the
So they
suggestion.
requested it.
Mhm.
So shouldn't
Yeah.
they do the contract?
They were doing it under the auspices of Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, but now Merrimack Valley Planning Commission is pulling out. Alan McIntosh says that he can no longer do it.
You can't do the mapping.
No, he can't
They
do
can do the mapping,
with
they just
consultation
can't
for
do
the plan.
the plan, the text, the.
Oh, I see.
Remember, the
Review.
mapping is done under, we can do the mapping under,
Technical
LTA,
review,
limited
yeah.
technical review hours that we get 35 of those a year.
Not that I would ever suggest that we plagiarize anything, but aren't there sections of what we used before?
That are still
Absolutely.
relevant.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Sure. Yeah, it's highly unlikely that we're gonna have to update the soils map.
No.
Well, somebody's been changing the soils.
Well, that's interesting because then, is there floodplain in here? Cause that's been changed.
Well, that's all gonna get updated. But that's mostly this is
That's-
maps.
That's
It's
only
not
my-
gonna be comprehensive, it's gonna be review of what was done before. This satisfies what you need to do now, this needs to be updated, and that's where they're gonna be putting their attention into.
And,
That's my only concern was
And
that
I can
if
tell you,
whoever
anybody,
asked for the money, I think should do the contract. And I don't remember us ever
Oh.
being involved with it before.
but one of the things that we did not do, well, from the 2001 open space plan, one of the great advances forward that we made with the 2007 was that for the first time, it was actually called, instead of being called the Georgetown Open Space Plan, it was actually called the right name, which is the Georgetown Open Space and Recreation Plan.
Yeah.
When Concom did in the
That's what you
past,
have it right here
yeah, Concom,
on the title.
yes, that's the actual name that EOEA looks for. When
Right.
Concom did it, Concom only did the open space plan. They never looked at recreation. And that was, not an oversight, it was just that, the focus was to find out what the open space in the town. Tilly, you did
I was on
extensive
the
mapping
open
back in
space.
2002, remember? Going to the assessor's office and reviewing the maps.
2000, the year 2000.
I know, just getting a handle on the inventory of lands and what the town did have for conservation parcels was pretty tough for a bunch of volunteers.
Who's on this committee now?
I don't know who the Concom's gonna appoint. I have no idea. Because, one of the things that the members made very clear was, we'll help, but in no way are we doing it. That's gonna be a professional consultant. Thank you very much, but go get money and get a pro to do it, because it was such an agonizing process. We would submit, the person at the state would say, not good enough, do it
That's-
again.
Yeah.
It was like,
That for-
it was a target that constantly moved, and,
Contract lump sum,
So in other words, the Concom is
7,000,
wiping their
it
hands of
goes
it.
in.
I'm sorry?
The Concom is wiping their hands of it.
No, the
Even if it
Concom
takes
is
7
gonna
attempts.
have a hand, the planning board is gonna have a hand, the open space committee is gonna have a hand, but the bottom line is it's all done through the auspices of the consultant. And not to get off of it and get more descriptive of it, but there are a number of people that have to, and a number of boards that need to have their input. One of the things that's specified in the scope of services is that there will be a departmental survey done, planning board will do it, have a survey, all of the other departments in the town will have their say, park and rec, outside agencies such as the GAA, the new synthetic turf advisory committee, the school building committee, all of these committees will have input and be surveyed. And then at some point during the spring, the consultant will put together a public meeting where all the heads of departments, board members, anybody interested will come in, meet at town hall or the school or wherever a large forum can meet, put all their heads together, have almost a charrette, if you will, to help pull all these ideas together. At that point, then they'll take that information, the information from the survey, the information from that, and then what they'll do is they'll have the public part of the survey. On a website, they'll establish a website for public input, probably like a Survey Monkey thing. We'll have our outside services done. And anything I'm missing? What else? do we
No,
do?
public outreach will certainly be
Part of it, yeah.
part of it.
Oh, it's
and they
huge.
Recognize
It's
it,
huge.
so everyone, all of Georgetown will have a
Yeah.
chance to speak.
Well, if anybody's watching and they're interested,
sure.
to get on the committee.
Yeah.
It's a
I-
nice
I
way
would-
to learn
I-
about the town.
I would definitely say if you're interested, you want to contact the Conservation Commission, call Steve Przymski, put in an email or give him a call and let him know you'd like to be on the Open Space Committee. They'll be steering this, and Concom appoints that. They always have. Is there?
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there any more discussion for the question, the motion for Howard to be authorized to sign the contract on behalf of the board? Any more discussion, Bob?
Not for me, no.
Chris, anything else you'd like to add?
Mm-mm.
Tilly, anything you'd like to add to
No,
that?
I think we covered
I'm gonna
it
call
all.
the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I'd like everyone to take a peek now at, and Howard, am I looking in the wrong packet? Where's the list that, of the, it is in here, that list for, the maps?
This is-
That was in your planning pack.
That was in the regular packet?
List, I thought you told
That's
me.
this one?
Yes, it is, yeah, I'm trying to find it though, I'm trying to find my copy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I call your attention to this. This is a list of all the mappings, requirements for, the update. These are, straight out of the, update guides for the open space and recreation planners workbook, 2008 version, which has not been updated. These maps are required maps to have. Some of them are simply reprints of the older plan. Some of them have to be put together with new information, and that gets a build from.
By the consultant.
You
No,
have, you
no,
have, you
no,
have,
they are not, it's not done by the consultant. This is the portion, because we only have $7,000, this is the portion that's gonna have to be done by Merrimack Valley Planning Commission.
Oh, okay.
Through Gerard Witten.
Okay, and Howard's gonna
Facilitate.
coordinate that?
Yeah.
you're gonna get a build-out map? You're gonna get a, ooh,
For, and now, what I'd like to
That
do
would be
is
great.
have a motion by whomever for, to, have Howard ask the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, to, what do they do when they figure out the hours? They estimate the hours, Howard?
They'll estimate the hours.
To estimate the hours for, LTA,
Letters of technical assistance
okay,
or request for
hours,
technical hours.
yeah, whatever, LTHA hours, whatever they are,
For this?
for the mapping to update the open space plan.
So,
Thank you, Chris.
can we get CPC money for that?
No. We don't need money. Merrimack Valley gives us 35 of those hours.
Gotcha.
Just guessing. I'd be shocked if it's more than 11 or 12. Most of these are
I
reprints.
think it's gonna be more than that.
Looks pretty good, like, pretty
Yeah.
in-depth stuff there.
yeah, I think so too.
Some.
Regional
Frank-
contact was already done to cop, well,
Right.
there was a motion by Chris to have Howard look at the LTA hours necessary to
Or
Merrimack
coordinate
Valley.
with Merrimack Valley and.
Get an
find out
estimate.
the estimate on the hours, so.
Is there a second for that?
Yeah.
Bob seconds. And everybody gets that? Are we good with that?
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Great. Uh-huh. Good.
So this is
Great.
LTA time.
Yep, that'll be LTA time. Is there anything there that anybody, well, you know what, take a look at it. Oh, that was your copy, right?
First you have to give it back to him so we can.
Take a look
at
at it and peruse it a little bit. If you'd like, if you have serious interest, I can email you the open space planners workbook, and you can check the update.
I think is it still the
Characteristics.
same one or?
Absolutely, it hasn't changed. Yeah, they
Oh,
haven't updated
yeah,
it at all.
I got-
Matter of
I
fact,
have
but
it.
the interestingly enough, one of the changes that did happen, even though you can't find it anywhere, is that now it's no longer a 5-year action plan. You can do a 7-year
7.
action plan. Is my
Oh,
understanding.
nice.
Yeah, so that'll actually help the town. Keep in mind, one of the
That's a-
things that
That's a good thing.
I know we need in this town, and I get it from CPA, from CPC, one of the things we really need is a very comprehensive look at the active recreational needs for the town. As I said, and I don't wanna sound like a broken record, but I probably do. The last update of the open space plan was the first time that we had ever addressed active recreational components in the open space plan. It was there, it was not as comprehensive as anybody would have liked it to have been, but, I think we can make up for that and put a big focus on it this time, because it is an incredibly
Yeah.
expensive endeavor to have active recreation in your town. You need to be coordinated between your school committee, you need your park and recs commission. You need so many aspects of the town that have to be brought together for very expensive decisions. And it has to all be done with private entities and with public entities, all coordinated under one plan. And this is the venue to make it happen.
I think it's the most important part in my mind is to get a number of how many acres that we do have preserved for both. And we could use that for the 40B requirement on how much space we have, and it changes the density.
You're referring to the conservation lands? Absolutely.
Open space
Yes,
and
open
rec
space.
lands, anything that's not built on.
Land permanently
And
protected.
I think that's
Right.
It is
the
another
most
way to count.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is another way to calculate your 40B.
That's
A lot of
that's
people don't realize that.
Yeah, neither did the state.
Harry, I wonder if you, I'm sorry,
Billy?
I wonder if you could expand a little bit on active recreation. And a little bit about, for me, what exactly does that imply? You said it's very expensive, everybody has to be coordinated. What's up?
Uniquely enough, everybody needs to be coordinated. What's happened in the past is, we have, school athletic fields.
Mm-hmm,
We have, public parks.
mm-hmm,
We have, private entities such as the GAA that, are
State
coordinating,
forest.
they work.
Right.
The state forest, I wouldn't call the state forest an active recreation.
That's passive.
That's passive recreation. And, the difficult part about the whole thing.
That's what I'm asking, is
Oh,
when you
the
say
distinction
active
between
recre-
active recreational and
Yeah.
passive recreational, no one can ever answer that for you. The state actually does not make a distinction. And the best description I've ever heard so far is that if you sweat, you're doing active recreation, and if you don't sweat, you're doing passive recreation.
Yeah, I've heard it as being described if you're actively engaged in a sport activity.
Yeah,
So an active recreational area could be frisbee golf.
Is it?
So
Running.
walking
Skiing?
in the woods is
It's
not.
passive.
What if you're doing
Passive.
passive skiing? Passive,
Cross
but
country.
if you're
Cross-country
horseback
passive
riding,
skiing.
that's active.
What's the purpose of, this is a distinction without a definition. What,
It
what's,
is.
what's the
It
point
is.
of this?
It is. Yeah.
Is there
Well,
do we
it's
get
a
money
pretty-
if we do active? I mean,
If somebody wanted to build a skating rink,
mm-hmm,
that would be active recreation.
mm-hmm.
Didn't we define that in our zoning? We made an amendment to that, didn't we?
We defined the uses. We defined a use, yes.
But
So-
Bob, to help, I think, answer what your question is, there's a growing need with the population of having sports and athletic fields.
Facilities.
Right, and that's where the main focus is gonna be.
And
That's
these
what
would
it-
be facilities like a YMCA or something that would be available, but not necessarily associated with the school.
I would see if a facility is being more like a soccer field or a baseball diamond, skate park, as opposed to a Y.
Yeah, that would be different.
And a lot of that base work on active recreation was done in the Park and Rec's master plan. That was done after, I think, the last open space plan,
Yeah, I don't know
so.
much about it.
I was brought up on Long Island, and in New York, the government and towns are totally differently structured. They're townships and villages, but they're county and state parks that are incredible compared with what is in Massachusetts.
Hmm.
The town that I lived in had beaches, had pools, had bocce courts, had golf courses. This was state-owned. And it was
State-owned or town-owned?
at both, and county-owned. Counties.
All
county-
levels
county
of the
something.
park.
All levels,
Yeah.
all levels.
Yeah.
Oh, Wynn's got a golf course.
And absolutely, it's a great course from what I understand.
Yeah.
And
Salem,
I'm not saying that Georgetown should,
Salem has a golf course, municipal golf.
it adds to the quality of life in those communities. Incredible.
Yeah.
Bocce courts,
Don't watch you.
bocce courts, this is New York.
Yeah, that's, well,
It's
there's
New
more
York.
elderly.
And the thing is,
It's a
an-
growing
yeah,
population.
an ethnic population in New York, and I know there are bocce courts in Boston as well.
Well, interestingly enough, the important thing is, obviously, someone sat down and said, well, we have an aging
We need a
population.
bocce court.
We need a,
Right.
well, that's just it, the need.
Yeah.
What are the needs of the community? And somebody, before you can determine what you should have, you have to determine the need, and you'll never get what you should have.
And a few Italians that
know
wanna
what
do
the
the
need
work.
Yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You need to know what the demand is.
Gee, you know, thinking back and looking at some of the numbers that are being thrown around town, it's too bad the town didn't have the right of first refusal when the club was being foreclosed on, because they could have bought that for
That's
less
right.
than what the alleged
Mhm. Value.
AstroTurf is going to go in at,
Yeah, well,
Yep.
yeah.
because that note was sold for $2 million.
Yeah, maybe that's something we should discuss too. That would have been under chapter 61. You're referring to when the, what was it called? Georgetown Club sold under 61. But my understanding is the chapter 61 trigger did not occur because there was no change of use. It was not being, brought out. Remember chapter 61, and Howard, correct me if I'm wrong, chapter 61 does not kick in just from a sale. Chapter 61 kicks in for, because of a change of use of the parcel
Right.
that's being sold.
Well,
That's why I
and
said it's too
that-
bad.
That could be subject for later in the meeting or something.
Yeah, maybe we might want to discuss that at another time.
Right.
Recently, it's come to our attention that there was a chapter 61 notice of intent sent to the town for a very small section of land. By the time the board got it, the selectmen had already released the land and refused, bypassed the, what's the terminology I'm
The
looking
proper
for?
protocol?
No. The protocol, I believe, was nothing was done that was outside of proper. The right of first refusal is one that is correctly determined by the select board. Under chapter 61 laws, planning board, conservation commission, select board, and there's another board, and I forget what the other board is that needs to be notified. It's eluding me now, whenever someone wishes to
The
take.
assessors?
It may very well be the
Because there's a
assessors.
tax, a back tax.
It may very well be
Trigger.
the assessors, yes, thank you. The four of those boards have to be notified whenever chapter 61 is proposed to, chapter 61 parcel is proposed to be pulled out of chapter 61 protection. And, by the time we got the letter notifying us of it, and before it could get on a subsequent agenda, the select board voted to, what's the term I'm looking for?
Allow.
Allow the transfer, essentially saying the town passes on their right of first refusal for it.
How
the
big of a
parcel.
parcel is it?
It was
Is that
tiny.
by, what, are you talking about Blueberry Hill?
Yeah, it was.
It was an acre for an
30,000
acre
or
and a
something.
half, yeah.
No, it was a double. It was a doubling.
Yeah,
Somebody gave 15 and
They were
somebody got
taking,
30
they were
or
taking
something.
about an acre out of
15.
chapter 61, and they're putting about an acre and a half, 2 acres
Okay.
into chapter 61.
Right, so
That's
there was
somewhere around that.
Well, that can't go into
Blueberry
chapter,
Hill
it
is
can't go
not
into
a
chapter 61 for 2
agricultural
years.
use at all.
No, it's not, but the property next to it is. So,
So they swapped a piece of land? Is that
Yeah,
what
it was
you?
land
they
swap.
didn't swap. It wasn't 1-for-1.
No?
No.
Yeah, the thing is that, and the only concern that the only reason I raise it, since you brought it up, is that, there was no input from the planning board, and I would hate for anyone to think that the the select board would be doing something without the input from this board, from
All the other
conservation
departments or boards that were noticed.
that are required under chapter 61 to be notified of that change of,
Prior to the decision.
And were we notified?
we got a letter, the applicant did it properly. But, it would be,
Remember it.
it's very important that, well, maybe we might wanna
Did
send
we
an
all
email or
see it?
something.
I don't remember it at
No,
all.
there wasn't time till it was, we got the letter, and before we could get it onto an agenda,
They acted on it.
exactly, and, that's fine in this case, it was probably a no-brainer, but I would hope that nothing like that would ever happen if it were,
In the future.
in the future. A good lesson learned.
Should we communicate with them that there may have been an oops?
I was hoping we just did. And there wasn't an ups.
Mr. Surface, if you're watching us,
There wasn't an ups. They have, I don't know, you can ask legal counsel about this, and I'm sure you'll get a legal opinion about
What's
it.
an
but
ERPS?
The bottom line is, I don't see that they have to take the recommendation of the Conservation Commission. They don't have to take the recommendation of the Planning Board. They don't have to take the recommendation of the assessors. What,
oh no, they don't have to,
no,
but
but no.
if there's a requirement that we be notified, something tells me there must be a timeline that we be notified, not 20 minutes prior to the decision.
Well, the town actually has 120 days to opt to bypass that, to refuse the first refusal.
Okay, but
The clock starts when the letter comes in,
they made the decision.
but you have 120 days to make that decision. The Board of Selectmen has 120 days to make.
Do they really
how
make a
long-
preemptive decision?
And how long was it, do we know, from the date the Board of Selectmen got the letter to the date they made their decision?
When did we receive the
I
letter?
wasn't prepared for this
Yeah,
conversation at all.
I don't know when we
So-
received the letter. It was
Okay,
shorter.
there are some questions that I would like
Right.
answers to.
It was a shorter period of time than the interval between our meetings.
Well, doesn't, with all due respect, doesn't that raise a red flag? Or am I the only one that says, wait a minute? We meet every 2 weeks. So within 2 weeks, there was a notification and a vote by the Board of Selectmen to pass.
And they were well within the law to do so, in my opinion. They
Well, my
have every
question
right to
is,
do it.
I'd like to see what the timeline is, because if we're required to be notified, we're required for a reason. And are we to be notified prior to a decision? What's the length of time prior to the decision? Gosh darn it, there are rules. We're all either gonna play by the same set of rules, we're not gonna create them as we go. And there's a reason why the planning board is down to be notified. We were elected to these positions to make sure that our responsibilities are fulfilled. And the mere fact that, and I appreciate our Board of Selectmen, but they're not gonna dictate to this member of the planning board what the duties and responsibilities are for the planning board. There's a reason why we're elected and they're elected. We'll take care of our turf. God knows they try and take care of their turf. My concern is that something that happens that fast, a big red flag that something's getting jammed through, and hopefully no one's gonna see it. I don't practice that way. I don't live that way. Everything is an open book, God knows. Watch Fox 25. Whether it's true or untrue.
Maybe an email from Howard to town administrator or the planning, the Board of Selectmen might, just reminding him that asking that in the future, when questions of 61A, 61A, Chapter 61A, or 61 use changes do occur in the town, that the planning board would essentially appreciate the opportunity to chime in.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt for all the boards to know
I
about it.
still,
Well, they do know. It's just, you know,
I
maybe.
didn't.
Howard, I still.
Well, we know. We've got a
I still
copy of
would
the
like
letter now.
answers to those questions.
Right, the timeline. Right.
Timing is.
The
is key.
timeline,
I only
in
remember 120 days.
the
so-
statute,
What's 120 days?
when the planning board's supposed to be notified. And actually, if you could email me where that is, whatever statute,
Chapter 61.
okay, but
Chapter 61.
Right.
Chapter 61A. Chapter 61B.
What would it be? Trees, the tree farm?
They all
Up
fall
there.
under.
because I went through that. I went through it when I built my house.
Yep.
And I'd like to think it could be done in 2 weeks. Because I got news for you. I had to go before the Open Space Committee. That's where I first met him. And when Harry came up, and you know, it could have been a no-brainer. Harry walked in and looked at it and said, "How big a lot is this?" And he said, 2 acres. 2 acres? We were interested in 20, not 2.
Yeah.
And it could be that much of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm sure that was.
But I still had to
Legit.
follow all the steps.
Yeah.
I went before open space.
Yeah.
I had to come, I believe, did I come before the planning board? I think I did come before the planning board.
I don't know at that time.
I wasn't there then.
And I had to pay 5 years back taxes.
Yeah.
Yep. At least, sure. Well, there is a process, and maybe the planning board could have Howard send an email or a letter to the town administrator and the board of selectmen, asking them to please be sure to
Right.
let us know if something like that comes up again.
On a
Yeah.
timely basis.
Right. Also included in your packet was the third item on the planning office. I wanted the planning board to be aware of a current docket that's before the House having to do with changes to Chapter 40A in particular. I found it interesting that they're proposing changes to Chapter 40A in terms of minor subdivision and allowing cities and towns to replace the A&R provisions and removing that because it's been leading to such confusion for quite a while. And then the idea of inclusionary zoning and consolidating on permitting. So it's fairly thick.
Do you do you know when it's gonna come to that, to be voted?
I haven't been able to find when it's
Because this has been worked on for like 10 years.
Oh, yeah, they've been trying
Right.
to lerpa, loopa, lean,
and that's
booma.
what's going to happen for
Yeah,
another 10.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there may be something. It's just a,
Comprehensive zoning reform
Right.
in Massachusetts.
I-
Coming
So-
soon.
it's been out there for a while. It's going to keep going.
I
But
think it's interesting that they want to take the supermajority, the 2/3 vote.
Yeah.
And make it a simple majority. That's dangerous.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in there that you could have.
I get a load of
There's
this
a lot of
one on
philosophical
page,
things.
what is it? It's like the second page, site plan review. Current status, which was good. They broke it down to current and then proposed. It start right off. Although not included in the zoning act.
Yeah.
Do I have to say anything else?
Site plan review.
Do I have to say anything else?
So site plan review, let me think about that for a second. So site plan review does not fall under zoning, dear town council.
Anyway, moving along with this is legislation that I presume
Right.
is moving forward. And is this in the House?
it's
or
being
in the,
discussed
in the
and
Senate? I'm sorry. Which
It's
one
in the House.
in the House, and
It'll be in the House for a while.
Let us know when and if it gets approved by House
If we
majority,
still live in
Oh, when we
Joyce.
have Mira come in, we can ask him.
and ask and find out
Give him
and
a
find out
job.
what it looks like after it gets through committee. We'll see what that sausage has in it.
We're
when,
keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, good idea. There an M account we have to deal with here? Someone looking for a release of funds?
M account for 20 Nelson Street.
Okay, so this is,
This has to do.
I'm sorry, 20 Nelson Street
20 Nelson Street.
is the appropriate address, right? 20 Nelson Street, and this is M account, can I have those numbers, please?
26439.
It's on the
And-
agenda.
26, huh? Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
And what is this for?
Okay, let's see what
It's
it
in
looks
the
like.
amount of $423.70. This M account was established by Groveland Associates in their application for an ISH development on 20 Nelson. Later on in the process, the applicant withdrew, and we provided in the packet the meeting minutes and the motion of the planning board accepting the applicant's withdrawal.
So,
And,
started, it was withdrawn.
Credit Wendy for her thorough investigative undercover.
Okay.
Wendy.
Work.
You sleuth, you. Should we buy her a magnifying glass and a deer stalker?
That's Larry Ogden, this was, but
Yeah.
there was a development there.
Yeah, but this was withdrawn.
This was withdrawn.
And another
Where-
M account was put in for
All
that
the
one.
bills paid,
Yep,
and this is what's left over.
yep.
Making that motion,
I
Chris,
move
to
that
release
we
the funds.
return the money.
Chris makes a motion to release the funds in the amount of $423.70 for M account number 26439. Bob, you seconded it?
do.
And is there discussion? Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries
We didn't.
unanimously. Let's, do we have that,
You
bills
can-
payable?
Yeah, you can
We'll
fill
get some
this one out.
signatures.
You can fill this one out. At the next meeting, I'll have their certificate of vote.
Certificate of vote?
Right,
was
we
withdrawn,
usually have a
wasn't it?
cover sheet that goes with that.
Oh, yeah, you need that from Mary, right? Oh, let's see.
Oh, I'm glad that you,
So
I
would you
like
like to
that,
sign that?
you sent out, Wendy, you sent out the note asking the subdivision consultants.
Yep.
That's good.
Check with Larry Graham,
We,
check with,
and we consult
Dave
with
Varga.
Concom, and we consult with everybody else, so.
Check it out. Nice, good job. Cleaning them up, little by little. And where are we?
And by the way, I know I yell at you, Duff. Kudos for chipping away at that.
Yeah.
Little by little.
It's probably gonna be one a month, and
Was no easy
Wendy gets on top of it, so.
Yeah, it's been
Great.
very consistent, since I started doing this.
Slow bleed.
Now, you know, Howard, you don't run like a thoroughbred, but you sure do keep going like a mule. I gotta give you that, baby. It would appear at this point that we, might want to take note of the fact that, that extension of time that was voted, could someone give me an interpretation? We did an extension of time for East Main Street facility.
April, wasn't it?
Yes, and we authorized that. At this point, do we have something that Tilly can sign at this point?
For the extension of time?
Yes.
You did.
Oh, did Tilly already sign it? Did you already sign that, Tilly?
No, but.
No, he
I
hasn't,
thought
because we're waiting for, is my,
Original, was it?
at 8:30, the applicant was gonna be here with the original.
Oh, okay, great, okay, good. Is there any concern of a planning board member or a member of the public? Anything that anybody would like to bring up before we, move on and move away?
Move on and away to what?
This is an item I'm gonna include on all the agendas from now on, because at the last few meetings, there's been topics raised that weren't on the agenda, which there weren't any policies or motions, or it was just a general discussion. But by having this on there, then anybody can come forward and introduce a concern as well as a planning board member, so.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good catch-all, so that whatever
It
members have to bring
encourages-
up, if any members wanna bring anything up.
Encourages participation and engagement. It's gotta be good.
Right.
Any topics anybody would like to bring up before?
Well, I sent in an email that I wanted to go into executive session to discuss a few things.
Chris, are you making a motion?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, my question is why isn't it on the agenda?
Not that I want it on the agendas on there either. Howard's trying to save a lot of paper this week, I think.
That's not, I'm sorry, that's not,
I honestly,
Not a good
Chris, I
reason.
don't recall receiving an email for you requesting an executive session,
If you'd like to, Chris, just,
so
I
I
mean, we don't need
apologize for
to have it
that.
on the agenda, make the motion.
no, Carrie, please. When I write in a response, when I write a response to an email sent to me saying, I would like this put on the agenda for executive session, and it doesn't appear, any board member who writes that, it should go on the agenda.
Well, I think that's
And
the reason this
Howard
is
just
here.
said he missed it, and he apologized for it. I don't have a problem with
And
that.
I'm opening the floor for it right
You
now.
know what happens, it happens.
Sure, stuff doesn't get on the
Am
agenda.
I upset about it? No.
Would you like to make your motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I'll hear
I
it.
would like, if we can wait 1 second, I'm just trying to diary our field trip to Holy Cross College
Sure.
before I forget. I would like us to go into executive session with the intention of not coming back into public session to discuss potential legal strategies on issues previously talked about by the board.
So a motion to enter into executive session with the intent to not return to public session for the purpose of, what was that again?
Discussing
Discussion,
legal strategies.
legal strategies. For potential litigation?
Correct.
That is one of the approved uses, I believe.
Yes.
For litigation.
Second.
I was just gonna ask if there's a second for that. Tilly
I-
seconded?
When you
Tilly
go to
seconds?
executive session, you need to do a roll call though.
Absolutely.
True, but you need a motion.
Okay.
Absolutely, but the motion has to come, the second has to come.
Right.
And then a roll call vote has to be put on.
Made, right.
And then, naturally, at the very beginning, at the onset, you have to set up whether or not you will be returning to public session.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay?
And for your notice, when we do these minutes, executive session are gonna be separate and they'll be voted on later on.
Well, we're presuming that we are entering. Let's take the roll call vote first.
Right.
So, roll call vote on whether or not to enter into executive session. This is a roll call vote. Tilly Evangelista?
Yes.
Tilly says aye. Harry Locatilia? I say nay. Chris Rich?
Aye.
Chris is an A. And
Hey,
And Bob is an A. Motion carries. Executive session will be entered. Great. Well, everyone, have a good evening. We will not be returning into executive session this evening. Have a pleasant evening.
Into public session.
Public session, excuse me, we won't be returning into public session this evening.
I don't see any
Have a-
lights on in there.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Is he
Good night.
still there?